What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to Taco-Bout Raiders Tuesday Live. I am your host, TRU Raider. Now, it's done, right? It has happened. Davante Adams is a Jet. Davante Adams is a Jet. Oh, man. We'll see how this thing plays out, man. The trade compensation is whack. The fact that he wants out of Vegas, it feels whack, but at the same time, what it really comes down to is that he was sold something that we did not offer. He came over to Las Vegas to play with his college quarterback, Derek Carr. He didn't even get a full season with Derek Carr. Since then, he played with Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer, Aiden O'Connell, Garner Minshew, Jared Stidham. It's just been a shit show at quarterback. He's had Josh McDaniels calling offensive plays. He had Bo Hardegree calling offensive plays. Luke Getsy calling offensive plays. I mean, let's just face it, right? We're in a position where he was not getting what he was told he was going to get when he got here. But what he's leaving to is not much better. It's not much better. There was that whole article that came out about that Davante Adams told Antonio Pierce that, he doesn't want to end his career like this, right? But last night, I don't know if you guys watched the game with the Bills and the Jets. I had it playing on my phone while I was doing other things. But there was, at the end of the game, man, there was this moment where you could just see that Aaron Rodgers was looking like, I don't want to end my career like this. And it's really kind of funny and really kind of sad, right? Because Davante Adams left from Green Bay because he was not sure what was going to happen moving forward with Aaron Rodgers. He didn't know what that was going to look like. He didn't know what the future was going to hold. And so he ended up dipping to go play with Derek Carr. Ridiculous, right? Because now he's going back to Aaron Rodgers. He's going from a team that is 2-4 and going to another team that is 2-4 to go play with Aaron Rodgers, who he didn't want to play with anymore, right? He played 2 seasons without Aaron Rodgers because he didn't know what was going to happen with Aaron Rodgers' future. Now Aaron Rodgers is older, coming back from an Achilles injury. There's like a whole lot of other things going on, where it's just ridiculous, right? So the trade compensation, I'm going to go ahead and pull up an article. If you guys are on TikTok, I'm sorry, I can't pull up the article on there. I'm pulling it up on YouTube. But this article says Raiders trading wide receiver Davante Adams to Jets for conditional 3rd-round pick. New York's shock firing of Roberts, I don't even know how to say his name, Saleh, did not prevent its successful pursuit of Davante Adams. 7 days after the Jets fired their head coach and less than 24 hours after a primetime loss to the Bills, they have agreed to a trade for Adams from the Raiders. Ian Rappaport reported on Tuesday. Las Vegas will receive a conditional 2025 3rd-round pick in exchange for Adams, Rappaport and NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero reported. The 3rd-rounder can become a 2nd-round pick if Adams becomes a 1st or 2nd team All-Pro this season, or if he's on the active roster should the Jets make the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl, per Pelissero. Pelissero added that the Jets have agreed to take on the rest of Adams' salary in order to get the deal done. Per source, Adams' base salary is $16.89 million, and he also has $510,000 in per game active roster bonuses. The Jets will take on the prorated portion, which comes out to $11.6 million. Adams is already in the Jets building and will undergo a physical, per Rappaport. Adams has missed the past 3 games due to hamstring injury, but Rappaport reported the injury is in a good place. Feeling great, Adams said during a surprise Tuesday appearance on the Pat McAfee show alongside Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who Adams spent 8 years catching passes from as a Green Bay Packer. Yada, yada, yada. blah, blah, blah. So what we're really looking at is it's almost laughable, man. I gotta give a couple of shout outs. Billy Davis, one of the model Raiders. Anthony, what's going on? Uh, what's going on? My take is it's really unfortunate, but it is what it is. I honestly don't have my record anymore. How about you, True Raider? Yeah, my record prediction is going in the toilet for sure. Raider Deb, what's going on? Salute, salute. So surprisingly, Adams is all healed and ready to play. He said he's ready to roll. Yeah. Yeah, and we knew it, man. We knew it. Chris, what's good? What's good? Salute, salute. Scott, thanks for the follow, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. I'll let you guys know on TikTok. It's a little bit harder for me to keep up with your guys' chat, man. So if you really want to be part of the chat, jump over to YouTube, True Raider Podcast. I'll get you in, man. So yeah, man, what do you guys think? You know, this whole thing about if Adams becomes an all pro or if they make it to the AFC championship team, right? And he has to be on the active roster. What I'm looking at is best case scenario for the Raiders is that the Jets continue to do terrible, right? They're 2-4 right now. So the odds on them making it to the AFC championship are pretty slim, right? Now with the addition of Adams, they might start lighting it up or something, but I kind of doubt it, right? What I'm really hoping is that Davante Adams is going to have an amazing, amazing year with Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to continue to lose games because then that turns into a second round pick if he becomes an all pro, and then that pick becomes a higher pick, right? You know, and I agree, man. It is a pretty sad day in Vegas. I got no hate towards Davante Adams. He's projected to have a Hall of Fame career, and ending his career with the likes of Gardner Minshew throwing passes to him. I get it. What I do not respect though is that he kept saying, I want to be a Raider. I want to be a Raider. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not trying to leave. Turns out he was trying to leave the whole time. Yeah. So really it was fake. The injury. Good to go to play first game as a Jet. Yeah, and supposedly he healed up, right? I don't think he had a hamstring injury. I think that he had a change of heart, and you could tell, right, when he came into that press conference and he was, damn it, I can't remember the guy's name now. When he was saying that dude that was saying that I talked to Davante Adams and he wants out, and he was like, I never talked to nobody. The only person I talked to is my wife, and she ain't leaking anything to the media. And right there, that was suspicious to me, right? Because when he said that, it was like, oh shit, well, he's going home and he's telling his wife he wants out. And all it takes is for his wife to be like, you know what, like, I hate seeing this. You're miserable. Let's go. Right. And that's all he needs. I know that's how it is for me, right? If my wife comes in and says, I'm really it upsets me seeing you how you are in your current job, and let's go ahead and move to this other thing. Like, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. Oh, Shadow, AP needs to go too. I don't really know that AP is to blame for this, man. There's a couple of moves, and AP is not performing as a head coach the way I really pictured that he would. So he might need to, right? But part of what I'm seeing is that um Tom Telesco really made some weird decisions, like Antonio Pierce was like, I want to trade up. I want to get a quarterback. Let's bring in Cliff Kingsbury, right? Cliff Kingsbury comes in and then he finds out we're not getting a quarterback, right? We're not going to move up. And he went, oh, wait, you guys aren't going to move up for a quarterback? Never mind. I am not going to be a coordinator for Gardner Minshew, right? And Aiden O'Connell, because that's really risking his career. And so then he went over there to the Commanders where he knew he was going to get to play with coach one of them top quarterbacks, either Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. And so that was an amazing decision on his part. And then Josh Jacobs wanted to stay, but he said, you guys got to go up and get a quarterback. I'll take less money. And Tom Telesco said, go get your bag in Green Bay. Right. So Tom Telesco is low key doing some shady things that I'm not really happy with. Chris, with the $5 hollow, what's going on? Need to move forward. It was time to clean the cancer, no more complaining and crying. Draft a QB, new and young OC. Chris with the haymaker over here, man. I appreciate you for the super chat, man. I really, really do. So that's a big one, right? Is that like if you guys saw it, and I didn't watch the receiver show, right? Because I saw enough clips and things like that all over social media, all over everything. Just the way that Adams behavior was, with Jimmy Garoppolo. And yeah, we like the thing of like when Antonio Pierce took over and you see Davante Adams dancing in the locker room on the sidelines and they're, celebrating, smoking cigars. Like that all looks great. And we love that, right? But never mind the times when he's pushing down. I think that guy was like a cameraman or something. When he's frustrated on the sidelines and pissed off, and rightfully so, right? But there was a lot going on that Adams was obviously not happy. And since he was obviously not happy, it's like, why would we believe that he was a positive person in this locker room, right? So no more complaining and crying. Right? Adams, he's not on the same timeline as us, is what it really comes down to, right? Adams was not on the same timeline as us because he is in win now mode. He's at the end of his career. He's really trying to get his stats. That way he can get into the Hall of Fame, and he's trying to get a ring. And that's what he wanted to do in Vegas, right? He wanted to come over and play with Derek Carr, who he knew would force him the ball. Because Derek Carr does this thing, right? Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, like where he picks his one receiver and he gives that guy the ball over and over and over, and you're going to get 100 receptions under Derek Carr, right? And so he came over because he wanted that, which he had his second best career game. And then on top of that, he's thinking we could possibly win a Super Bowl. The Raiders might be a quarterback away from a Super Bowl. I mean, not a quarterback, sorry, a wide receiver one. And that did not go well. Now, if Josh McDaniels had never come in, let's say we stayed with Rich Bisaccia. Rich Bisaccia might not have done a trade for Davante Adams, right? Or it wouldn't be Rich Bisaccia, it would be the GM, right? But that might not have ever happened. Davante Adams might have never been a Raider. But let's say Davante Adams comes over under Rich Bisaccia and the way that these guys were playing under him, there was a higher possibility of having a really good season under that than with Josh McDaniels. Because let's face it, Josh McDaniels was a bigger cancer than Davante Adams ever was. And really, you're right, Chris, that, about cleaning a cancer, because we're at a point where, of course, he's feeling negative, right? Of course he's feeling negative. He didn't get what he came over here for. And so, yeah, he's going to be a cancer to the locker room, a cancer to the team. Clean house, get him out of here and move forward, right? California Dave, unfortunately, I think our offense is beyond repair this season. Dave, you might not be wrong, man. I think Aiden O'Connell definitely came in too late. And I think that even if we started Aiden O'Connell day one, Davante Adams was still going to want out. It was going to happen, right? Do I think that we had a better chance of keeping Davante if Aiden O'Connell was the starter from day one? Yeah, I really do. But Davante Adams probably still becomes a Jet either way. Just is what it is, right? And so moving forward, who do we got in our wide receiver room? Well, with Davante Adams, it's like, wow, we have an amazing receiver room. Without him, it's like, oh shit, we're kind of lacking. Let's face it, Brock Bowers is our number one guy, and he's the tight end. And then we got Jacoby Myers, which Jacoby Myers is a good receiver. I don't know that he's really cut out to be the number one guy. Fortunate for him, Brock Bowers will take over that responsibility. But Brock Bowers is still a rookie, right? And then we got Trey Tucker's going to take on like that wide receiver 2 role, right? Which means DJ Turner has to be a guy that really, really steps up and really starts to get more and more involved. Ramirez, third or second round pick is not worth the trade. It's really not, man. It's really not good for us. The Jets won that trade. That's what it comes down to, is the Jets have won that trade. And that's what it is, man. You know, Chris, our defense, we have good players. A lot of them are injured, and our performance, our ratings as a defense are awful, man. Um, our yeah. Let's see if I can pull it. For some reason, when I Google things on my computer versus Googling things on my phone, I get like completely different outcomes, man. It's weird. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can pull something up that says our defensive rankings, because from my understanding, they are not great, man. They are not great. You know, I'm not really finding it, man. And I don't want to waste too much time Googling stuff and looking, man. But really, our defense is performing pretty awful, right? We're allowing a lot of big runs. Teams that are struggling to get the run going are getting the run going against the Raiders. Quarterbacks that are really struggling and not looking very good are looking really good against the Raiders, right? So our defense is really not getting it done. We really thought we were going to be able to lean on this defense. We're going to have this top 5 defense, and we're going to go and all we need is subpar QB play, somebody who's not going to turn the ball over, and at least put a couple of points on the board, and our defense will carry us through games. Our defense is not getting turnovers. Our defense is not getting stops. Our defense, we have the most missed tackles in the NFL. The most missed tackles. Art in Dallas, I can draft better than this. Hire me. Hey, man, show up with a Raiders polo and some Oakley sunglasses and just show up to Vegas, man. Interview for the job. Man, it's like the first time in forever I'm having trouble keeping up with the chat. Anthony, True Raider, this team organization as a whole better fix everything quick and fast. Max might be the next one next season, finally showing his frustration on Sunday, shoving his coach. You know, and Max really tried to clean that up. And he's like, oh, I love that guy. And that was, you know, it was right after a sack, and that's just like how we do. But like when he pushed him, the look on the coach's face was that of confusion, right? He looked like what the hell, dude? You know, so I'm not really sure who to believe. You know, we have it all the time where players are saying things like Davante Adams saying, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not trying to leave. And then actually he was, right? We had Max Crosby saying, oh yeah, I love Josh McDaniels, blah blah blah, right? And then that's not actually the case. And these guys, they don't want to say certain things because, I mean, they end up getting fined, they end up getting in trouble, they end up, you know, being in bad position with coaches they still have to play with. Like they're gonna do the PR game, and they're gonna do what they do, right? Um, you know, I'm surprised Raider 7528 isn't in the chat saying Team Tank, but I gotta tell you, I'm not gonna root for the Raiders to lose. I never will. However, if we continue to lose games, I mean, is it really something to be upset about? Is it, right? And I'm not rooting for us to, I want us to go in every Sunday and win, right? And you're right. The Raiders can't afford to lose Crosby, man. You know, now the draft capital that we could potentially get for Max Crosby, I think that we probably value him a lot more than other teams do, as we do with most of our players, right? And especially if Crosby was like trying to push his way out, they're not going to give a shit. Now, the Lions losing Aiden Hutchinson is a huge loss for them. They are in win now mode. They've never won like they're really in a position where they might be wanting to give an offer, right? And you know, Max Crosby with his Michigan ties and things like that's where he went to college. Like, I don't know, man. It's really hard because I don't want to see Max go. No matter what we got for Max Crosby, I would be upset, right? And realistically, the max trade compensation that we might get for Max Crosby would be like 2 firsts. Like if they, let's say they gave us 2025 and 2026 first and second round pick. Like, that's a good compensation, right? But man, would it hurt? It would hurt. It would really, really hurt to lose Max Crosby. I love Max Crosby, and I always put the Shield above anything else. But Max Crosby is he's different, man. He's so different. And it's not just about being a fan of the player, but it's also about, just what he brings to this culture, what he brings to the locker room. You don't get that every day, man. If teams start calling for Myers, let's stock up on picks. Losing Jacoby Myers, I mean, it depends on what they offered for him, right? Because if somebody came calling for Jacoby Myers, they're probably going to offer us a 5th or 6th round pick. And at that point, I'd kind of rather just keep Jacoby Myers. He's proven that he can get it done for us. California Dave, moving forward, Davante is off the books. Freed up a lot of money, most likely gone after season. At least we got a third for him instead of just walking. California Dave with the optimism. And that's exactly right. Because there's this thing that happened with Derek Carr where we didn't get anything in exchange. Like, I would have loved to at least get a third rounder for Derek Carr. We didn't even get that. He just walked, right? So we're getting at least a third rounder, maybe a second rounder, depending on how things fold out. And then we cleared up so much money on our books, right? We are going into next season with $105 million worth of freed up cap space. $105 million of cap space. Now, a lot of that's going to go to, Malcolm Kuntz is going to need money. Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Merrick. We're going to have to re-sign some of these guys. And I think that we should with all of these guys, right? And they're not going to get big price tags. Malcolm Kuntz stands the best chance at really getting paid. But after being out the entire season with an injury, we don't really know how he's going to look when he gets back. So we're probably going to get him for a much cheaper contract than we originally would have. So, we're going to have to allocate some money to keeping some of our own guys. And I think Robert Spillane, the year that he's having, we need to pay that man. We need to pay him and keep him in the building. We just need to do it, especially with that much money. We should pay him right now. We should just do it. Sign him to a bigger contract. Say, hey, we want you to stay, right? We need to secure our defense because our defense, even though they're doing pretty terrible, if we secure those players that are doing well within that defense, it gives us a better starting point for essentially we're in rebuild, right? We are in rebuild, guys. I don't like it, but we are in rebuild. Jeez, man. So Rodgers will be playing this season, maybe next season, and sat his ass down. And that's the thing, right? Is that the way that Davante's trade works out with his contract is really they could get him for this year and then cut him. Right? From my understanding, that they could cut him after this year. So the Jets are doing a win now thing where they might just move on from Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams next year if they don't really go to it. If they go to the AFC Championship, they're probably going to go ahead and hold on to him, try to make a Super Bowl run next year. But if they don't make it to that, man, if they don't start winning games, they're probably going to cut Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers next year. And then what? And then what happens to his career? Then he's, this free agent that's just trying to see where he can get in. I get that he doesn't want to end his career like this, but it's actually really kind of pathetic to go crawling back to Aaron Rodgers. I remember when Davante Adams became a Raider and then Derek Carr left, not even before, it was before Derek Carr left. And he was saying that a quarterback doesn't make him, right? And that he wanted to be able to prove that he is who he is regardless. Well, he got his wish and he ended up with Gardner Minshew. And now he's crawling back to Aaron Rodgers. Please, Aaron Rodgers, save me. And that's sad, man. That's a sad thing to happen, and now I got another jersey hanging in my closet that's of a player that we don't have anymore. And I'm not going to be one of those guys that goes and burns my jersey. I loved the fact that Davante Adams was a Raider, right? But, yeah, we got another Randy Moss going on. Yeah, everybody on TikTok is saying trade Crosby to Detroit, man. But Crosby, he's different, man. We got to hold on to him for real, for real. Like for real, for real, for real. Yeah, Chris, the Raiders need to play to win, not to lose. And that's the thing, right? Is that like there's there's some speculation going on with the Raiders about that there's a tanking that's happening that not everybody knows about, you know? And it could be some conspiracy stuff. I don't really know what's going on, man, but I keep hearing people talking about that. There's a high possibility that, Mark Davis brought in Telesco, you know, and with full intention to tank, and then Getsy is the fall guy, right? You bring in Luke Getsy, and then you get to blame everything on him. I don't know, man. All I know is that, all offseason, Antonio Pierce's body language is up there. He's screaming Raiders. He's talking about all this stuff. And then we get into the regular season, and it's like, that's not even what's happening. That's not even what's happening at all, right? So, like, because of Getsy, I mean, we're probably going to hold on to Getsy, right? I'm definitely all about fire Getsy. I think that Luke needs to Getsy the F out of here. But the thing is, man, is that I don't think that's going to happen. I think that there's no way that we end up firing him right now, and I really hope that we do. I would love to see us fire Getsy and still make a push to win games, right? Davante Adams leaving isn't everything, but with Davante Adams leaving, they might just be looking at, look, let's just keep Luke Getsy, let him call these awful, awful games. We'll lose. Then we'll get to say, hey, it was Luke Getsy. Antonio Pierce gets to say, hey, that wasn't my guy. And then what? They fire Getsy next year. They get a high pick and then move forward. I don't know. Jimmy, sell the team. The thing is that Mark Davis is not going to sell the team. He put it in position to make money. Now he just needs to put it in position to win. Do we even have any Tom Brady news? I know that today they're saying that he's expected to become a partial owner of the Raiders. Doesn't look like they have approved it yet, but what I'm hearing is that Brady is going to actually have a lot of say so with a lot of decisions, right? And I think that could be good for us. I mean, Brady already owned us while he was a player. Might as well own us now that he's retired. That's sad, right? But there's like a lot of things that go into that, right? Where if Tom Brady comes in, for one, he was the NFL darling for a long time. And I don't know if he's going to continue to be that, but that could work in our favor, right? Maybe we get a couple calls like that Steelers game, man. Those calls went against us harsh, harsh. And so, like, maybe we start getting some calls that go in our favor, you know? I don't know. But what I do know is that Mark Davis knows nothing about football. Really, he didn't know shit, and he doesn't try to claim that he knows anything. Bringing in somebody in the ownership that is football minded that can actually help guide those kind of decisions, like, hey, don't get Luke Getsy, this guy's garbage, right? Those kind of things, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think that honestly, I think it'll be good, but we'll see, man. Let's see. Raider D87, nah, 2 firsts and 2 seconds minimum for Crosby. Yeah, man. I mean, but even at that, I'd still be hurt. I'd still be hurt. Chris, Spillane, Hobbs, Kuntz are keepers, and that's facts, man. That is a fact. And yeah, Adams he's about to be 32 years old, man. And I get it, right? He's like at the end of his career and doesn't want to continue whatever shit show our offense is up to, man. It's crazy, right? Because in the off season, it's like all the pieces that we had in place, it's like, okay, we got everything going for us except the quarterback. And then as games start to unfold, it's like, okay, our defense isn't all that we thought it was, right? And then we have all these injuries. Having Malcolm Kuntz out before the first game is just like, what is going on? And then our offense, like, okay, yeah, we knew that we didn't have a quarterback, but we thought we'd at least, I don't know, man, at least look better than we did with Jimmy Garoppolo and Josh McDaniels. And then it comes out, if you look at the stats, it's like Jimmy Garoppolo and Garner Minshew are, it's like the Spider-Man meme, right? Where they're pointing at each other. It's like it's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. California Dave, number 17 being traded isn't a biggie to me. Mac, Jackson, Cooper, Carr, Jacobs, those hurt. Always in constant rebuild. And I think it's more of what it really says about our franchise for Davante Adams to want out, right? I think it's more about that than losing the player. It's just like another big name player gone from the Raiders, right? And this happens, right? We've continuously had this happen, man, where we have these big name players and it doesn't last, it doesn't work out, right? And there's a bigger reason for that. Yeah, James, getting a Crosby jersey was definitely a safe bet. And I definitely want to rock a Brock Bowers, man, because I think that we'll end up with Brock Bowers at least throughout his rookie contract, right? And then he might be like, all right, I want out. If we're still in rebuild at that point, he might want out. Right now, he's got better numbers than any tight end in the league as a rookie. As a rookie, man. Rocking the Seawood jersey. Same here. I'm wearing his anymore. I'm rocking the real Raiders. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Retired a Raider. Seawood. You know, yeah, I get it now, right? I start getting it more and more of why these people are rocking old jerseys like that, right? Because it sucks to have jerseys hanging in the closet that are just for what. Christopher Raiders with another $5 holler. Appreciate you, man. Mark Davis needs football minds around to make decisions. He's not his father. Mark is a businessman. And like that's true, right? He inherited this team from Al Davis. Al Davis was an amazing football mind. But Mark is not. And Mark has said that he's not, right? He knows he's not his father when it comes to football decisions. He made good business decisions, not good football decisions, right? Moving to Vegas is an amazing business decision. He gets to charge a shit ton of money, and every game is sold out. The problem is we lost home field advantage, right? Because now it's a tourist attraction. Now all these other fans from other teams want to come into Vegas and watch their team win, or yeah, win, right? Is how it's going. Because let's face it, right? When you're looking at buying tickets to a game, are you gonna be like, yo, I want to buy tickets when the Raiders play the Chiefs or when the Raiders play the Panthers? I'm thinking, man, I want to watch the Raiders play the Panthers because I don't want to go pay a bunch of money just to get a big L, right? And walk out of there feeling all awful. It's like, I want to be able to watch my team win. Well, everybody that bought tickets for the Panthers game, that's not what they got, right? But traveling fans look at Vegas and they go, dang, the Raiders, 2-4. Yeah, I had to buy tickets to that game. That way I could see potentially my team win. And then they go on vacation, they go gamble, all that stuff, man. Garbage, man. And so like bringing in Tom Brady, has the potential to where he's kind of doing some business decisions with Mark Davis, because Mark Davis, he's going to do all the business stuff, right? And then Tom Brady, if he's playing a role in some of the football decisions, then Tom Brady is really well connected in the NFL. He had a very long, great career. He has more rings than any individual team has. That's insane, right? And so, like, really, Tom Brady could potentially put us in a position where we're making good football decisions on top of business decisions. And if we start making good football decisions, then all of a sudden, we might actually start building a winning culture here in Vegas, man. Yes, and but Striker, we hate Tom Brady, man. I'm telling you, man. All right, so a lot of you guys know I'm a person in long term recovery, right? And there's a step that we work, man, where we write down resentments, right? And when I first did this, the tuck rule was on my resentment list, right? And I had been holding on to that for years, right? Like that is like one thing that like stuck with me. It's one of my early, like I was like 14 when that happened, man. And that stuck with me into an adulthood, man. Still resentful. You guys ever see that video of Tom Brady and Charles Woodson talking about it? If you haven't, look that video up, man, with Tom Brady and Charles Woodson talking about the tuck rule, man. It's hilarious. Flat out hilarious. And this is true, Chris. Big name players leave teams all the time. Jeez, I don't know if you guys can hear that, man. My wife's dog is flipping out. Jeez, I hope everything's okay, man. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. I don't know if you guys could hear that, man, but that was crazy, man. My wife's in there taking care of it though, man. It sounds like it's getting resolved. Yeah, she's got this little Chihuahua poodle mix that I don't know, man. Hope it's okay. But yeah, big name players leave teams all the time. It happens, man. But you do see like there's players, right? Like Mike Evans stuck with the Buccaneers, and he's been through so many quarterbacks, so many awful seasons, and then he got to play under Tom Brady, and now he's got a Baker Mayfield that has all of a sudden resurrected his career, right? And which is like amazing. Julia, shout out to you for the follow. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with the TikTok chat quite as much. It's hard to juggle both things, man. It's hard to juggle both things. I'll get better at it, man. But yeah, I mean, so you see some of these big name players that stick it out, right? Um, we had the Tim Browns and the Charles Woodsons of the NFL that they want to stick it out. And I know Charles Woodson did play with the Packers, and stuff like that, man. But what it comes down to is that like there's this era of sports, man. It's like the LeBron James effect, where they like start wanting to move around to go play with their friends and go play with and I get it, right? There's a short period of time that professional athletes can play in their sport. And it's like, do you really want to waste it, right? Do you want to waste your legacy in a bad situation? I get that. But also it's like there's so much more respect for players that just stick with their teams throughout their whole career. There really is. But you have things like Barry Sanders was an amazing running back, but he always played on this awful Lions team. It is what it is, man. Yeah, Richard Seymour is also part of that deal with Brady getting ownership, right? Yeah, I did see that, Chris. California Dave. Oh yeah, I hear you, Chris. That's what I'm saying. We get good players and then we let them go. Yeah, man. Like we do better when we have those like homegrown, players that we draft and we develop here, like Max Crosby, where they end up usually staying for a lot longer. We had Derek Carr for 9 years, and he would have remained a Raider until he retired if we allowed it, right? If we allowed it, but we didn't, right? And like at the time, man, like I tripped out on how everybody was so hyped on like, oh yeah, get rid of Carr, he's garbage and all this stuff. And I was skeptical, right? Because I wasn't like what were they calling them at the time? Kardashians. But like I wasn't a Kardashian either, right? It's like I was really just skeptical on like what is the plan, right? What is the plan? Because we better be bringing in a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or have something lined up if we're not keeping him, right? Drafting a CJ Stroud or doing something like that, right? And we did none of it. We absolutely did none of it. We brought in Jimmy Garoppolo. They found out that Tom Brady was retiring. Josh McDaniels went, "Oh shit." Called up Derek Carr. "Hey man, sorry about that. Sorry about disrespecting you and your family. Will you come back?" He laughed and he said, "No, not doing it." Right? And it is what it is, man. I mean, DC was a good QB, Chris. You know, he was, and he made some big mistakes. He was never. I don't ever think that. I think he had like one season that I thought he was like a top 10 QB, right? Like, and then he broke his leg, and then he was having a really good year. Again, when we lost Gruden, when Henry Ruggs did that shit, all that. Um, but besides that, man, like he wasn't very consistent, right? And the lack of consistency for Derek Carr really kind of hurt things. But to move on from him with no draft compensation and no clear direction, like, okay, I could see if they already had like a deal with Tom Brady where it's like you're for sure coming in, there's no backing out, blah blah blah, and you might be right. Raiders might have won the trade in the long term. Might have, right? Because let's say we keep Davante Adams, right? We keep Davante Adams, and then what? He's aging. We don't have a quarterback to throw to him. Our offensive coordinator sucks. And then what? And then we're paying him $44 million a year to maybe play with a rookie next year, maybe play with Aiden O'Connell next year. And it just kind of turns into this perpetual, I don't know, man. I don't know. What I do know is that we should have kept Derek Carr until we had a solid plan to move on from him, right? Do I think moving on from Derek Carr was coming and it should have? Yeah. I really do believe that there should have come a point where we moved on from Derek Carr. But we should have had something else lined up, and we definitely should have gotten some kind of trade compensation for him. Like, they were worried about the guaranteed money that they're going to have to pay him, right? But like, I don't know, man. It's like we go from a making the playoffs to all of a sudden a 6-win team. And then, oh, it's Derek Carr's fault. Let's cut him. It just doesn't make any sense to me, man. Doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, thank McDaniels for that one, beautiful beast, for sure. Josh McDaniels was the biggest cancer that I've ever seen on this Raiders team, period. I've never seen anything like that go down. The last the last first round QB we drafted was Stabler. And what's up with that, right? How come we haven't been drafting quarterbacks in the first round for so long? And really we need to see, Gary, and I don't think that Crosby's leaving. I don't. But I mean, I would not doubt it if Tom Telesco really has no commitment to Max Crosby. So Max Crosby could, I don't know, man. Tom Telesco might just look at Crosby and say, you know what, that's an asset that I can get compensation for. But the thing with Max Crosby is that he's like friends with Mark Davis. Like they kick it all the time. And so like I don't really like Max Crosby is the face of the Raiders right now. And if you move on from Max Crosby, what do we have? No more Davante Adams, no more Max Crosby. The only way I see that happen is if for some reason Mark Davis believes that moving on from Max Crosby is the only way to get Shedeur Sanders. And Shedeur Sanders, like I think Mark Davis looks at Shedeur Sanders as a billboard guy for Vegas, right? That it, money. He's looking at money. He's not looking at football. He's looking at money. And you're right, Jamarcus Russell. What about Jamarcus Russell? Yeah, there we go, Chris. Jamarcus Russell, man. And maybe that's why we haven't been drafting quarterbacks in the first round, right? I don't know, man. Who you talking about, Billy? Alpha, about us being doomed. I think we're definitely doomed for this season, man. I'm not feeling very optimistic, man. And I am a guy that I wanted Jaden Daniels so bad as well, Aaron. I'm a guy that remains optimistic in situations where I probably shouldn't be, right? But like I do that because I've been in a point in my life before where I was so pessimistic and so just lack of hope that I refuse to not hold on to hope in a lot of situations, right? And so, you know, the thing is that for me to be feeling as negative as I do about the rest of the season, it's kind of hard for me, man. I don't typically feel like that. I didn't even feel like that last year, right? Because last year I had this hope. I had this hope that we are gonna fire Josh McDaniels and that we're gonna be able to get everything going. And things looked pretty good. I liked what happened there. And then, now it's like what? I can have some hope that we fire Luke Getzey and all of a sudden our offense starts to click. I don't know. I think if we got rid of Luke Getzey, our offense would play better. And if our offense started to play better, we could win some games. But then what? Are we actually going to make a playoff run? And I've been talking about it all off season, all season. I believe we're going to hit the playoffs. And the further we get into the season, the harder it is to say that. Anthony, I believe the Raiders talked to him before that season. They asked him what you want, what you need. We trying to be good again, and you don't succeed. You out, no backup plan. I think you're talking about the Tom Brady thing, Anthony. Um, I think that players like that look at the Raiders and went, they know something about the inside workings that they're like, no, I'm not going into that. I'm not trying to be like Davante Adams and end my career like that, I guess. I don't know. Brian Rodriguez, we have the GOAT, Tyree Wilson. That is right. The amount of times that they've called his name, it's brutal, man. He's not even out there for most snaps. It's really sad. The last first was Jamarcus, 343 pounds, Russell. We did try to hire Cliff Kingsbury, and he came in, and supposedly it's that we didn't offer him a 3-year deal, that we are only going to do a 2-year, and he wanted a third-year option, and so he left to the Commanders. But I don't think that's what it was about. I think he came in and he's like hyped about it because there was all this hype that the Raiders are going to trade up to get a quarterback, and then he found out, oh wait, you guys are not going to get one of these top quarterbacks, and he went, no, 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 I'm not doing that. Jawalrus Russell, man. Come on, man, Brian. Oh, brutal, dude, brutal. Yeah, in the nation, who didn't want Jaden Daniels? Look at him now. Um, he's just he's performing so well. He's making it look easy. And it's funny, right? Because during the off season, when I first started this channel, a lot of the videos I was putting out were all about Jaden Daniels, hyping up, like, let's trade for Jaden Daniels. I was saying, let's give up, 2 first rounders, Colton Miller and Davante Adams. Let's go get him. And people were like, no, you don't trade away the future for a gamble at quarterback. And it's like, dude, like, all you had to do was like watch tape on him, listen to his interviews, to know that this guy is committed. He's not going to be a Jamarcus Russell and get to the NFL and get lazy. He's going to get to the NFL and he's going to work even harder, right? And he's skilled. And all you need is a good offensive coordinator and a good coach that are going to put him in check and be like, hey, don't put yourself in dangerous situations. Don't run the ball so much. Throw the ball, you know? And they're doing that. And he's looking amazing. Absolutely amazing. Everybody said it was a bad idea. Well, guess what? Yeah, Chris Kingsbury knew he wasn't getting a QB, man. Yeah, Jimmy Daniels is real, man. He's legit, Definitely, I think he's better than Caleb Williams, and I've thought that all along. You know, and I don't know that the Commanders, because they said like you can't buy something that they're not selling, right? And it could be that the Commanders really refuse to move from number 2, right? But I really think that if you offer the correct compensation, Commanders have to consider it, right? If you're looking at, 2 first rounders, Colton Miller, Davante Adams, hell, maybe even throw in a second, like, and that's a lot. That's a lot to just throw at a quarterback. But look at the situation we're in, right? Let's say we had Cliff Kingsbury, Jane Daniels. You started there, Mumford at left tackle, DJ Glaze at right. He's playing right tackle anyway, and he held TJ Watt to 0 pressures. TJ Watt did punch out 2 fumbles, but he had 0 quarterback pressures. That's amazing, right? Yeah, it's Walla. What a waste of a trade. Rodgers is done. They ain't winning no playoff game. They might make it to the playoffs and they might win a playoff game. Maybe, right? But like, how much gas in the tank does Aaron Rodgers really have? Like, I know he said that he's going to stay in the NFL until he wins another Super Bowl, but like, he's old. He's old, man. I mean, he's older than I am. And there's no way that I could, like, if I sleep wrong, I wake up sore, right? Like, my shoulder has been killing me for like 5 days because I slept weird. Like, I don't know, man. And I'm 37. I can only imagine. Yeah, Maurice, you're right. Aaron Rodgers is old, but he still has 300-yard games, and he's still a better quarterback than Aiden O'Connell. That's for sure. Davante Adams is definitely going to get his stats there. And I think that probably the Jets wanted Davante. I don't know if the Saints even made an offer or even called. And then with Derek Carr being injured, and I don't know that any other team was really looking at Davante Adams. Because, like, the Bills, okay, with the addition of Davante Adams, could that be good? Yeah. Is that necessarily a great fit? I don't know, man. There's a lot of question marks, So him going to the Jets, if you're the Jets, it's like, okay, this is a surefire thing of like Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams have that timing, right? They have that connection. It's going to be good, man. Adams isn't going to make Rodgers stop throwing picks and cost them the game. You're right, man. You're right. Yeah, we got another tanker in the chat for sure. And I'm hoping for the Jets to lose now. Not because of being a hater, but because we get a better pick if they lose, as long as Davante Adams ends up being an all pro. So it's like, what's more likely for the Jets to make the AFC championship and we get a late round second pick, or the Jets lose a lot of games and Davante Adams gets amazing stats and becomes an all pro? I don't know. My 2 cents. Salute. What's going on, man? Small wins that came out of the loss to the Steelers, only allowing 1 sack, and DJ Glaze holding his own against Watt. And Watt didn't get that sack, which that was the whole beef of Aiden O'Connell. Was like, oh, he's gonna get sacked and da 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 da. And like, I don't see the difference in him or Minshew being in there as far as sacks go. I really don't. Aaron, who do we tank for? I'm still not gonna be team tank. But if we acquire a top pick, I haven't done enough research on quarterbacks yet because I haven't really given up hope on this year. I'm starting to get there, man. I'm starting to get there where I might start watching some tape on quarterbacks and start doing that whole thing. I mean, so far what I've seen is like, it looks like Mark Davis likes Shedeur Sanders. Cam Ward looks pretty good. There's actually a handful of quarterbacks that are going to be worth it. I haven't gotten to because the last 2 years, right? I got to my quarterback that I knew was going to be that guy, that this guy is going to be it when he hits the NFL. It's going to translate. And, the first one was CJ Stroud, right? I knew CJ Stroud was going to be good in the NFL. And I knew that Bryce Young was not. You could just see it, right? If you watch the tape, it's obvious that Bryce Young's play was not going to translate to the NFL. Yeah, he looks super good in college, right? But that does not, the way he played, it's not going to work in the NFL. CJ Stroud, however, his play style and his size and all those things, it's like he just check. It's like, yep, that's gonna work out. And then, like Caleb Williams, I picture Caleb Williams being like a Kyler Murray, right? He's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. And I knew that Jaden Daniels is going to be better than Caleb Williams. And clip it if you need to, right? But he's going to end up being a better quarterback than Jaden Daniels. And that's what it is, right? Billy Davis, salute to you, man. Salute. Brian Rodriguez, I would trade Max for two first round picks. We need players. If we ended up doing that, I'd be mad. I'd be very upset about it. And then I'd just be like, all right, I get it. We need the compensation. But it's like, look what happened when we traded Mac. That did not work out well at all. Sanders is going to be like Lamar. TikTok makes you slide a puzzle piece when you've been live for a while to make sure you're real or something. I don't know what that is. Wayne Brady. Sanders is going to be like Lamar or Daniels. Raiders need him. And that's possible, man. That's possible. Oh, crap. Well, I guess sounds like my kid broke the dog's leg. Jeez, man. That is not good. That is not good. There he is, Raiders 7528. Of course, you want to trade Max. You want to get picks, man. So yeah, my wife just messaged me, man, and turns out that my dog has a broken leg, and so it looks like we're going to be going to the vet, and I'm going to need to end the live, guys. Shout out to everybody rocking in the building. We're an hour in anyway. I will not be available for the TGI Raiders Friday live. I got to do a work thing this Friday. I will be doing a watch party against the Rams, so keep an eye out for me for that, and we'll see how it goes, man. Yeah, that money is gonna hit, so we're gonna see what this looks like, man. Salute to everybody in the building. Thank you guys for rocking with me, like always, man. I love you, nation. I'll see you on the next one.